There's a disease running rampant this time of year. It's called, oh, I can make that itis. Do you have it? Hey everybody, it's me, Margaret, and Bentley. I'm on my way to run a few quick errands, and Bentley can go because the weather is so nice. And he's happy just to stay in the car. One of my stops is Michael's because they're having a huge yarn sale. I need some basic colors so I can use up what acrylic I've already got. And also 20% off your total purchase. So that's the only way I really like to buy my charity yarn for gifts. And I've noticed that when I go into any kind of store, I often say to myself, oh, I can make that. There's lots of factors to consider when we are looking at something and thinking we can replicate that. And one of the things would be, of course, the cost of materials. Can we make it for the same amount or less than what we see in the store? And we can't forget to factor in our time. Now, if making it brings you great joy, then that's time well spent, right? But if you're doing it just to save money or whatever, then maybe you're not, if it's not bringing you joy while you take the time to do it. I think one of the things I look at oftentimes is I think I can make it better than what I see in the store. For example, in Walmart there was a gift bag, a giant gift bag for those really big gifts, and it looked like Santa's sack, kind of looked like Santa's jacket, as a matter of fact, his coat, and it was kind of cheaply made. It was $9.99, and I thought, oh, I could do better than that. But could I, for $9.99 and the time it would take for me to do that? Or let me rephrase that, is it time I want to spend doing that? And then another thing we need to consider is, what have we already decided that we're going to make for the holiday? Do we have time to fit in all these other things that we've been seeing? And remember, all of this is perceived value. In other words, how you consider something being worth it or not. What may be worth it to me may not be worth it to you. For example, I will not buy Christmas gift tags. Won't do it. And probably for me, the reason I won't do it is because it was a tradition that I did with my children. Even when they were teeny-nicey, we always made our gift tags. It was just a fun thing that we'd sit down and do. And nowadays, even though I can't get anybody to sit down and do them with me, I still tend to make my gift tags. Nothing complicated, like some of these wonderful, beautiful cards that you see people making, but I always do something simple, and I just make them because I usually make them out of scraps, things I already have, and I just can't justify the expense of a gift tag. But that's just me and my tradition. So I'm kind of curious to know, as we talk about these things, what's important to you? What do you like to make? Or what would you rather just save time and buy at the store? Okay, right off the bat, I see pine cones, scented pine cones for $3. And we have what? They say 3 dry quarts. Looks like about 10 of them. And I recently made some of those just last year. So that to me is something I'd make. The ornaments are one of those things. Here they're 50% off. But ornaments come in all different shapes and sizes, so I would think they'd be a good choice for things that you'd want to make. But can you replicate something that cute? That's the question. This one would be easy to replicate. Pom-poms, felt dots, a crooked felt nose, one of those things that we could definitely do better. And look, knitters, we've got scraps to do this very cute, precious little hat. What's the price on this? $6.99, so 50% off. Another simple thing to replicate. But again, when you look at the prices, you say, okay, look, that's $5, but you're getting this for $2.50. By the time you buy the supplies, would you be coming out better? Oh, you wouldn't be coming out better. I just did some math. Michaels did not carry these bells in the colors that we saw. As a matter of fact, they did not even carry these large bells at all. So I had to search other places, but the prices were about the same everywhere. This was a 5-piece set for this price at Amazon. Of course, I did not see any of the colors that were in that, but by the time you bought one pack of each of the 4 sizes, you would have a good amount invested in just the bells alone, not to mention the little hardware needed to connect each of them together, plus the holly or pine at the top. So that would be a case where it would make more sense to buy that ornament on sale. And then there's things like this that's pretty. I mean, I think it's supposed to be a reindeer, so I think you definitely could remake it a little better because those ears are just too big. But where are you going to get supplies like this? So these are the types of things that you would consider, you know, not making, I suppose. They're cute. I know there are people that are actually into making miniatures, and this is a hobby all in itself, and it would be so fun. I often think about wanting to do something like this, but I think that's beyond my skill set. But isn't that fun to look at these things? This is what I think about, making my own little village and decorating it in some form or fashion. This little house is $5. And wouldn't it be fun to go down the doll aisle and find wreaths, or even make them from some chenille stems or pipe cleaners or whatever you want to call them. That could be really cute. Now these are birdhouses technically, but I love this little log cabin. And there's the western. This is supposed to be a birdhouse too, but you know, you could easily alter this to make your own little Christmas village house. Now this one is $10. They vary in price. It could be really fun. The lighthouse. Now, a personalized ornament that you may want to make, I've done these. I buy mini frames and then I put pictures in them. I gave these away to a bunch of people who worked under me on a volunteer team, and I had pictures I found of their kids online, and I put them in there, and then you'd have a little ornament. Now these are monogrammed, as you can see right here, but you can easily find inexpensive frames everywhere. Now this is an example of something that I see on a regular basis all over YouTube, where you buy these little letters, whether they're in wood or cardboard or something, then you decorate it and you put your hang tag on it. Well, these are $7.99, but they're on sale for 50% off. So this is an example of, if I wanted to buy something like this, I would definitely buy it, not make it. So just out of curiosity, I checked the supplies. These letters were the closest ones I could find to what the other ones look like, and they were $3.50, or 49 cents to be exact. That's before you buy any of your paint and your glitter and your ribbon and, you know, stuff like that. The finished product was $4. So if you want to do something like this, it would be because you wanted to, not because the value would be better. Now here's something that would be worth making. This is a luggage tag on the back there. These, it's kind of a rubber, but you could certainly make it out of that craft foam because it's like second cousin to it. And then cut out some letters with your silhouette or something. And this might be worth it. Now the cost of it is only $4. You could probably make it for less than that, but it would be a simple, fun, and fast project, and you could certainly be more creative than some of these right here. Now, wreaths and arrangements, for example, this is $100 right here. Yes, you can definitely make these for less, but you have to get the really cute stuff to go in them. And you also have to have the skill. It's not a matter of just plopping things all in there. And then there's clay ornaments. Now, I definitely think you could make some that were cuter than these. Concepts are cute, but I feel like I've seen ones that are actually cuter. Some of these are for personalization. However, These are only $2.99 and 50% off. But I still think these are something you'd want to make yourself. Here we're in the gift tag section, and again I see things that we could actually make. Remembering I'm not going to buy any of these because I make everything, but look, they're selling little pom-poms as gift embellishments. Simple for us to use with our scraps. And then here are tags that have like a little ornament in itself added onto the tag, which is just an idea altogether. Now, there's cute embellishments for making your own tags or Christmas cards or whatever. Some of these can be replicated, but some you may not be able to do as cute as the store-bought ones. Very cute concepts and ways to get ideas. Now, here's a good sale. Buy one, get one 50% off. But I have a paper punch. It actually lets me do that plus a silhouette. But even a good pair of scissors, you can print out templates that you download for free on the internet. Look at all those sale tags. And then there's another aisle filled with sale tags. And I've seen lots of tutorials for how to make this little vignette under glass. But can you make it light up? Isn't that cute? Here's a really good one. Let's say you like this stocking with the fur. Okay, it is what? $19.99, and everything over here is 50% off. So this is a $10 stocking. You can't buy the brocade and this fake fur, and if you've ever tried to sew on this fur, it can be a little tricky. So is it really, can you do better, let's put it this way, than $10 for this stocking if you make it yourself? I'm not sure you can. I don't know where my video went where I talked about these knit stockings, but they're cable knit in cotton with a cotton background, I think, if I remember correctly. And I am pretty impressed with these for a price of $20 on sale for $10. Of course, you have this fur at the top, which is also difficult to work with, and you'd have to attach it to your knitting. So this is pretty impressive. But there's one glaring problem that I can see with this, and that is that you didn't make it yourself, and it doesn't mean anything as a homemade knit stocking would. You know what I mean? Alright, 25% off Christmas light sets. This is a star tree topper, but I saw something very similar to this someone made on YouTube. Went to the Dollar Tree, they bought 2 stars that looked similar to this. They didn't have the beads in them, of course. Put them together, put lights on the inside, and poof, instead of paying $25, 25% off of $25, they got it for what, $3 or $4? Okay, now look at this garland. $19.99, 50% off, but look, it's a bunch of stockings. Now, we saw something similar to this I showed last week, but this is done with worsted weight. Very fast and easy to do. Doesn't look like there's even a heel. Just seamed up right there. Cute, cute. And here's Santa's wash. Look, his underpants. They're upside down, but there they are. Isn't that funny? And these are elves, I guess. And there was also a garland of little worsted weight hats. You know, I could have stayed in there all day and visited even more stores to prove the point, because I know you all do it too. When you walk through and you say, oh, I can make that. We just know we've got to think and determine whether or not it's worth it for our perceived value. So, I don't know, what is it that you would like to make, that it's worth it to you, or some things that you would never consider making? Traditions, share them below. Talk to you soon. Bye.